Unlike Flynn, baby.
Enter the madman, stage left. The audience rises and holds their breath. They let the vampires into their house, pretend they don't see when the teeth come out. Put a band-aid on their throat. No one wants to rock the boat, and no one wants to talk about it. You're not supposed to talk about it.
Got a little echo in the music.
The curtain rises and the players come out. Webs of lies spinning from their mouths. Start looking, listen for a little while. Attention to the men behind the curtain. Just look away when you see the blood spurting down to a steady drip. I promise to leave you a little bit. I'll be back for another drink tomorrow. I love the taste of your terror and your sorrow bathing in your blood. It's never enough.
Hello and welcome to the Iron Mountain Hour. It is Wednesday, July the 6th, 2022. Just got through Independence Day. We did a little episode talking about that on the 3rd and talking about Nancy Ward. If you didn't join us for it. It's a pretty neat conversation and a little bit of interesting history from the Carter County area that affected the United States on the global scale, really affected the Revolution. So go back and check that out. Look up Nancy Ward if you didn't check it. Thank you for joining us. My name's Cliff. This is Tim over here on Skype that you're seeing. Tim says, hey, bread and butter. It's too bad we don't have any of Yeti's honey, that hot honey. I would eat some of that on some bread and butter right about now.
I'll bring you a pretty good little jalapeno plant star.
Okay.
Which you want one?
Hell yeah. I didn't start any peppers this year. I have some hung and had some seeds saved, but I didn't start any. So, yeah.
I started quite a few of them. The only problem is they all kind of look the same. Yeah. So it might be a habanero, it might be a jalapeno. Who knows? But
grow it and see.
Yeah.
I'll eat it.
Well, they're all good. We'll just have to see what kind of pepper pops off of them, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I'll eat either one of them. I like habaneros. They got a nice smoky flavor. They're not necessarily that much hotter than jalapenos, but a little bit. But
you don't think they are?
I think they're a little hotter. I mean,
I think people would argue about that. I guess I have to ask Yeti. Give me the old.
I'm sure it's higher on the Scoville, but I don't know.
Some people just aren't affected that much by it. Maybe you just have a higher tolerance to capsaicin. You know?
Yeah, maybe I've been eating it since I was, pretty young. Always wanted to eat spicy foods.
I would say to me, there's a noticeable difference between a jalapeno and a habanero. Is all. Like I think a habanero is exponentially hotter.
Well, I guess if you're talking a pickled one for sure. What's that?
So I could just be a pansy when it comes to capsaicin, though. So.
Well, no, I mean I think there's a difference. It just I'm just saying it's not really nothing compared to what Yeti was talking about with ghost peppers and scorpions and all these exotic peppers bred to be super, super hot. But we didn't come to talk about peppers. But I would appreciate I would appreciate a pepper when you come over. I saved those tomato plants a little bit because there was I already had a good set of tomatoes growing, so I wanted to wait them back. So I just put them in the ground. I kept them in the pots, kept them alive, but just put them in the ground this past weekend or last weekend. So I'll have a nice staggering of tomatoes.
Cool. Well, I've got a couple more tomatoes going. Those don't work. My aromas didn't really take off too well.
Oh,
The
didn't they?
cherry tomatoes are going to.
Well, my dog actually dug them out of the plants. Orville Redenborker, the Shredenborker.
Oh.
He went outside and he just dug them up. He didn't do anything else. Just dug them up and left them on the porch. I was like, you little dick, jackass Russell Terrier. I feel like Hank Hill. That sounded like a Hank Hill insult. But let's get into a little bit of the news here tonight. We got some interesting local news. A few things we're going to hit real quick before we get into some really interesting national news. So, I thought this was pretty cool. There's this kid down in Chattanooga, 2.5, 3 hours from us, catches this badass catfish. You might call it the catfish heard round the world, WCYB says. Edwards Tarumians. There we go. Edwards Tarumians. They say he basically won the catfish in the lottery when he captured a rare all-white leucistic blue catfish from the Tennessee River. And so that was pretty cool. It's made it all around the world because those are really rare. There's a lot of fishermen who've, caught tens and thousands of catfish saying they've never seen one like that. And they say this young fella's likely to never see one again, but with the luck to get one so early, you never know. He might see another one, but good job, Edwards. That was pretty awesome.
Was it a catch and release, or is he?
No. He let it out. He let it loose. One of a time. He said he's going to have a mock replica of it made at a taxidermist's place. One of the things about it that makes it so special is that skin. You basically can see through the skin, and the skin is not strong enough for a taxidermist to make it into, a wall hanger. So I
guess I was just thinking more from the approach of like, if you could just have a picture nowadays, that's good enough of proof that you caught something, especially when 1 in a million of it. Like I could see like how just letting it go. I would let it go. I wouldn't want to taxiderm.
Oh no,
a rare fish especially when just a picture would do, and you could just let it go.
No, I think he did the right thing. He could carry that picture with him wherever he goes, and that fish can get bigger and bigger, and maybe somebody else will catch it again. Maybe they won't if the fish is lucky. But I'm just glad to know they didn't. Yeah.
We're going to taxiderm this 1 in 10 million fish.
Yeah, it might be like that river dolphin of Tibet that we were talking about, where people allege that Hitler and the Nazis were after him for his psychic powers. So we'd hate to destroy something like that.
Do you think that's kind of like I'm wanting to say it's either northern China or it's Japan that over harvest seahorses because they're convinced they help with like erectile problems.
Oh, really? I've not heard that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if that's ever something you just want to look up, there's plenty of material I'm sure you can find on it. There's a huge black market over in I'm wanting to say it's probably maybe Japan. It's like folk medicine over there, like that seahorses like ground up or something helps with erectile dysfunctions. But I think it's illegal to do it now because they've overdone it.
Probably is Japan, because in China they have the one-child policy, which led to a lot of people, either aborting or ending the pregnancy once they found out they were going to have a girl. Because everybody wanted to have a boy. You were only going to have one. They wanted to have a boy. And they ended up with way more boys than girls, almost twice as many boys than girls. So I doubt they would want a whole lot of extra boners going on in China there. But I don't know. I've not heard of the seahorse boners, but this seems as good time as any to remind you that this episode is brought to you by Tammy's Artisanal Toys. And that's right. Tammy has a new flavor coming out, if you will. This one is called the Green Monster. And it is a solar powered, it has algae power, it's biofuels inside the acrylic body of it. It heats up and it vibrates, and it's all natural and all what's the tagline, Tammy?
Sounds like Tammy's biting off a little bit more. Man, I have to ask, I know you guys have for all the people that aren't in the know, which would be most of y'all. Ever since Tammy got involved with the show, she was like, I've heard Cliff has a very extensive knowledge of fetishes and weird sexual things. And so I introduced him. And ever since, they've kind of been working a little bit with, like, via email about new sex ideas and new stuff. And I'm assuming this bioluminescent nonsense is
No,
your idea,
it's
right?
not bioluminescent. No, it is a biofuel. It's algae that heats up in the sun and it creates electricity in order to power the device.
Okay, well, Tammy's not into green
The
energy.
green monster. Oh no, she's selling to a market that is looking for, she knows the market. Tammy's a good businesswoman.
Guess I'm a little proud of her then. She thought of that all on her own.
Well, she knows the market. What can you say?
Yeah, well, you've got some more deviant stuff in the work, I'm sure. Do you know what the shipping, like what the time frame is for the Georgie Boy and the Scotty to start shipping?
I couldn't tell you, but if you want those, you better hurry and get them because they're going to be gone. So now let's move on to the news.
Shipping of dildos, my friend.
Yeah, you just have to check them out. Tammy's Artisanal Toys, everybody. All right, the next one we got. I want to. They're apparently. I don't know. This one's kind of too serious to go into after talking like that. So we'll go to something else for a minute. No, it's just do it. Anyway, there was the Johnson City Police Chief. He is they're calling for an investigation as of Monday. WCYB is reporting that he apparently did not pursue rape investigations against a particular individual, as the police would say. But let's read it real quick. The Johnson City Police Chief Carl Turner is facing new fallout after a lawsuit alleging him firing an investigator who called for action. A group of citizens are now pushing for a third-party investigation into the chief's action. So basically, former federal investigator Kat Dahl, she was working at the police department, I believe, and she said that he manufactured false complaints to get her fired because she was calling out that he would not investigate some rape allegations against one man, and she said she was rebuked, blown off by numerous detectives, numerous officers, even the chief himself, including implying the best way to gather evidence would be for her to put herself in the direct path of sexual predator, so she had experience with the person. Ben Putland recounted from the suit, and he's actually running for county commission. So,
did you tell her to literally go see if he'd try to harass
her?
Yeah,
that's what it sounds like. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, that's how I understand it. And apparently they're circulating a signature wanting him to resign. I've seen that on Facebook and stuff. And apparently,
you said it's Johnson City?
Yeah, it is Johnson City. And there's let me find it. This article here says that the identity of the person is not known, that they're saying, but they do have that identity. So if you're interested, you can go. I'm not going to do it again right now because this was a article I had for the show earlier, but I did see that they had it. So if you're interested in finding out who that is, you can go look it up. But so I thought that was something that we should watch because everybody's keeping their eye on the cops for some things, but then that's not anything you really think about. They said they're not testing rape kits and things like this, and I mean you hear that and you think, well, why would they not do that? Why would they even do it if they weren't going to test it? But evidently that's an issue that people are saying that we have in Johnson City too. So I'll spill the tea all over me. It said something here, and she's all the way down at the bottom of the chat for some reason. Can you see it, Tim?
What's that?
Spill the tea all over me is chatting, but I can't see it.
Your chat messed up?
I'm going to close it out and start it again.
Spill the tea says, "Hi guys, did y'all hear about the Guidestones? Is that what you're talking about?"
You better believe it. Spill the tea all over me. Yeah, that's exactly what we're about to get into. I've got all kinds of stuff about the Guidestones, but I wanted to tell people who might not know exactly what the Georgia Guidestones are.
Yeah, I was about to say, it might be a better topic because I was looking at my feeds, and almost all of them are Georgia Guidestones blown up or exploded or whatever. But I would say to a whole lot of people, this is like a very it's like an introduction to even what they even are.
Yeah.
Like I know they had them on an episode of like was it that Jesse Ventura conspiracy show? They were on one of those ancient alien style sort of
sensationalized history channel shows.
They're not super. They're not super. They're not mainstream at this point, but it's still not something just your average 9 to 5 person just knows about.
Yeah, you're right. And so I did a little bit of extra research on it tonight. Before we get started on it, I'm going to pull up basically the Fox News article on it. But I did want to remind everybody that the casino is opening in Bristol. So get ready for a den of iniquity and debauchery and all kinds of fun. So we're going to have our own little Vegas over here in Bristol, Tennessee. Or is it Bristol, Virginia?
So Bristol, Virginia.
Bristol, Virginia. So that's going to be pretty cool for a lot of people. It's going to hopefully bring a lot of high rollers in to play games, and they'll lose a lot of money at the casino and tip really well, and everybody will buy drinks, and they'll all pull all kinds of business around. Hopefully that's what happens. But is that hopefully? I think it would. The area needs something. That's not ideally what I would put in there, but I definitely see the potential for it, and I know a lot of people are excited about it.
They're going for a what's like a collective approach with the marketing, like they rebranded the whole area as the Appalachian Highlands.
Yeah,
right?
Probably just for the casino, right?
Right, it's not just the casino. That and just as the same as Bristol's not just banking on a casino. They're banking on the casino they're putting in now, and they're going to bank. They got a second casino they want to put in. You've got the racetrack, you've got the Country Music Hall of Fame, you've got the museum, Rhythm and Roots Festival.
They're banking on everything that comes with it.
There's a large boom in tap rooms all across the area, and there is a whole lot of hustle and bustle going on. So they're really trying to. Man, I know this is not what we're talking about, but isn't that fishy as hell that that lake has been closed or drained for like a decade, and then magically in the middle of the pandemic, while all the tourists are coming here, they're just like, nope, nothing wrong with it, and they just fill the lake right back up.
Yeah, well, that is, I think, when they said they were going to originally, but yeah, that's still awful convenient, and it's when all the new people are buying up the real estate, for inflated prices too. So that's a good point.
All those boat houses that you're supposed to float, and they're all just sitting on dry ground. I bet those things went for very, very affordable compared to what they would have been had there been water.
Well, that's what I was thinking too, man. When the first happened, and they were like, "Oh, it's going to take us 7 years to fix it," and I really am ignorant to other than basically knowing what they were doing to try to seal it and fix it up. It seems like they built the thing in 2 years. In the 1940s, why does it take them 7 years to patch a hole in it when they built the whole thing? I mean, maybe there's something I just don't understand about it. I'll admit to being ignorant about it, but
I'm not sure either. I mean, it sounds fishy, but then again, it could just be the fact that we don't know dick about dams.
But then, I thought, well, I mean, maybe they can't just slow the flow of everything enough to where they could just blow the thing up and put it down. So I'm not going to claim to have any kind of knowledge about that, but. Yeah, but the casino is coming, and it will be here. It will be open. They're having a grand opening on Friday there in Bristol, Virginia, at the site of the old mall, isn't it?
Yeah, they're putting the casino in the existing mall, and the first year while they have the casino in there, they're going to build an actual casino behind it, and then bulldoze the whole mall down and just make that into part of the parking lot. That's the plan.
Whoops. Sorry, can you hear that?
Experience of going to a shopping mall, but then going inside and seeing like a Vegas style casino. You can do that for about a year until they finish. Well, a year or 2 years, knowing how things have been delayed because of lack of work.
Yeah.
Enough to do things. I could see it getting delayed. Have you been downtown lately?
I went by Moose's house a couple of weeks ago and kind of bypassed the whole area.
You know where that big football is with the counter on it?
Yeah.
That they put up for the now at 9 o'clock's when the race is. That was supposed to be for that Virginia Tech game. That big hotel that's right behind it. It just looks like poles and like purple sheetrock now. But like apparently something like a part of it fell or something like that. But now there's been some kind of legal thing trying to figure out who or what happened with that.
Huh.
So that's been set for over a year untouched. So that's curious too.
Well, I'm going to read one more story. This was actually the one I intended to go into. Is after after our advertisement for the Green Monster. But this is the New York Post. Woman physically attracted to a fence. I'm sexually attracted to a fence and love it as a companion. And if you can see her, let's see. I'm not going to play the whole video or anything, but I want you to look at her face.
Oh, I've seen this.
She's talking about the angles of the fence. Yeah, I don't want to deal with the whole cutting the audio on and off to avoid the echo. But just watch this woman. And at first I thought, well, no, she's got to be making this up for clicks or whatever.
No, it's an objectified.
No, I think she's the real deal.
Yeah. These people have been around for a while. Do you want to know anything about it?
Not really. I just wanted to bring it up and say, yeah, I think that's a real thing that she really is feeling something for that fence.
Well, I don't really know if it's feel, but
yes she's aroused by the fence in some way. Yes.
Oxytocin is a big part of it. It's there's a dude that basically beats it to his car that I found. There's a girl who's in love with a particular building.
Yeah.
Like she's put in papers to try to marry it, and she says she has intercourse with the building, and basically what she does is she goes inside and takes a nap in it, and that's intercourse because she's in the building. Right.
So that's hilarious.
Like objectophiles or something like that. I'm sure there's another word for it. But in early development, like it comes from the idea of the same thing as like feet fetishes. It's just like right as a person is starting to develop all those, certain feelings, if something is in there constantly, you start to mix those two signals together.
Gotcha.
And at some point in time, this girl was getting her willies on, and she really liked the way that fence
Well,
looked.
I guess that worked out for her. Hey, spill the tea all over me. We got a couple of comments. Sorry, I'm not neglecting you. I'm having a hard time seeing them. I finally got them where I can see them now. But she says, a lot of people don't know about them, about the Georgia Guidestones, and she says, good grief, are you all on any time, or we're just random? Hey, we're every Sunday and Wednesday at 10 p.m. So if you're looking for us, that's when you find us. Hey, if you go to the bottom of the below the video, it's over on the right side of the screen. There's a little bell. It'll give you a notification anytime we go live. But yeah, every Sunday and Wednesday at 10 p.m. I guess we need to market that a little better because I feel like maybe I don't say it till the end of the episode. So I maybe should probably start doing that at the beginnings. But turn the notifications on. That'll make it real easy. That's what I do.
Mm-hmm.
For my
never mind. I'll go pass on that one. I'll get derailed. What's your next
yeah,
what's your next
I don't want to keep you on the fence too long. Was that golf worthy? Come on.
That was golf worthy. I was just
I don't even get a what's the word? Play I can't think of the word. You can't even give me a chuckle over it, huh? Let's see. What's the word I'm looking for?
It probably wouldn't come across. Have you noticed like this dreamsicle sort of situation going on with my arms? I didn't notice that till I was on camera just now.
Yeah, you gotta go a little bit of. I got the same thing going, man.
Gas up here all the way down into Orange Man Bad territory. You see, fellas, it doesn't have to be toner. You don't have to spray tan this stuff. Some of us just turn orange naturally.
Yep. I do too. I kind of turn red. Patronize. That's what it was saying. Couldn't you at least patronize me, Tim? I could not think of the word. Yes. Patronize my pun. That sounds kind of dirty. That sounds kind of like one of those fence deals there.
Speaking of golf, I did have something, I guess. I was looking through your Gmail account on the Iron Mountain Hour. All right. And we got a couple of complaints from this Sunday about something I said.
Okay.
And this is not an apology, but this is an acknowledgement. We had 6 emails in the inbox about people that were upset that I thought it was funny that Israel Adesanya beats it to hentai.
It's always those
legend.
incels that get in the inbox, isn't it?
No. This is an incel. I doubt that. And it's not necessarily incels. It's just people who are openly attracted to cartoons that are into hentai.
Okay.
And more specifically, we have 326 subscribers. That means six. I'm not going to do the probably the.
Yeah, that's a high
the,
number out of that
the,
many subscribers of y'all to be into cartoon porn.
26 of you. Yeah, 6 if you all are upset because
You
I
deviant,
joked
you.
about making fun of that. So, well, there's a lot worse out there.
Oh yeah, there is.
Hentai. I'm just going to say to you 6 people that emailed us and said, "How dare you make fun of hentai lovers?" Sorry, guys. Go beat it to your hentai. It's okay though. I'm not saying the whole point was like Izzy Adesanya can like literally kill everybody that I know with one arm, like I said. I just think it's funny that somebody burned him on that, you know. Man, a lot of our audience is really into hentai. I'm really worried about that. Although I have to say, 4 of the email addresses were kind of suspiciously, like one of them was goth@home@aol.com.
Yeah, I see.
And then another one was gothic metal player.
Okay, I'm starting to see a pattern here.
I don't know if goth's just really into the. Maybe I don't know. Maybe we just got a lot of goth people.
Maybe they're just goth fans. You ever think of
Goth
that?
does his fan base. Yeah. Ether Weaver at Capone's this Friday,
That's right.
y'all. If you're in town.
It's for all your dark synth wave. Is that what it is? What you call it? I think that's what I would call it, but I'm not good at the genre thing.
Gloom Mountain Gospel, I think, would be considered like dark synth, but I don't know if you consider Ether
They're
Weaver
just be
that.
more,
It's more like
synth wave.
It's just real spacey to me. Like, I don't think it's the kind of music you want to listen to if you're on Molly.
Okay. I've got into Gunship lately. They're pretty cool. They're like an indie synth pop, is what my friend told me. I thought it was like EDM is what I would have called it, and he was like, "No, they're not EDM. They're more indie synth pop." And I was like, "Oh, okay, that makes sense. I can hear that."
Yeah, but you're starting to play like the genre semantic game at that point, kind of like you go to war. And I made the mistake. You start making the mistake back in the day, just being like, "Well, I don't feel like learning all these genres. This is punk. Everything was just punk
or metal."
And then people started and be like, "No, bro, this is post-hardcore Egyptian speed." Like, all right. So.
Their email address wasn't Goff something, was it, when that came out?
Well, 4 of the 6 about the hentai.
No, I mean complaining to you about your genres too.
Okay. No. Now, golf is a genre booge, but I don't think he's gonna. He will verbally rage against that. I think he's under the covers about his hentai use.
I think Goff just likes to let you know.
Well, to be fair, Goff probably listens to more.
He does, yeah. He definitely turns me on to more music than I turn on to him. Got a couple other real quick ones here. I was going to show you this. There's roughly 60,000 reserve and guard troops are now cut off from pay and cannot train after refusing the COVID-19 vaccine. The huge number comes amid a recruiting crisis and annual training season for part-timers. So there are 60,000 people who are not going through with that. They're not being able to participate in any of their duties or benefits from the guard. And some of them, I think it said there were 6 who had a medical exemption, and it said there's, I don't know how many who have a pending religious exemption, but no religious exemptions have been approved yet, but the ones with pending religious exemptions are continuing to train, so I don't even think it includes them in that 60,000, so that seems like a pretty big deal, and, not something that I know the military is a lot bigger than that and everything, but it seems like you would still not want to lose that number of it. I'll leave it to you to decide why it's so important to them that they get that shot with what we know how effective it is at stopping, infection and stopping transmission. We've learned a lot about that since the thing started rolling out, since they started requiring it. And we've seen a lot of stories about excess mortality having to do at a certain time period among the millennials. Edward Dowd, former financial analyst at BlackRock, actually, he was in the insurance business, and he's looking at these numbers among millennials. 80% excess mortality, all-cause mortality. So it could be, heart attacks, could be strokes, could be drug overdoses. Lots of things could be causing this thing. But he points to the fact that it all starts right in the period of time where these corporate mandates started going on. So I'll leave it to you to decide what you think about that. But that's just something to be thinking about. And keep these guys right here. There's a whole lot of guys out there still holding out and still having to hold out. So I think it's unfortunate that, it's a damn shame. It's beyond unfortunate that they would do that with an experimental shot to begin with for our young men and women, and sometimes older men and women in the armed services, that they're asking them to protect the country and to go and fight in other countries for their money, of the people that are sending them over there to fight, and then they want to experiment on them. I thought there are laws against this, but forget about the laws. Who does this?
Well, they've been experimenting on them since
way before that.
Before that.
You got the Tuskegee Airmen. Not the Tuskegee Airmen. I pulled the Joe Biden. The Tuskegee experiments, where they let the guys have syphilis, let them suffer with the syphilis, even though they had medication for it, and did not treat them so they could see what the syphilis would do to them. And then the anthrax vaccines, around the end of the millennium there, they forced these on the soldiers. They had all kinds of problems from them. And then it was I think there was a Supreme Court ruling or a law, I can't remember which, but they decided then that which they shouldn't have to make a law about this, but apparently you got to make a law for everything to restrain the government, or they will do it. But that you can't experiment on the soldiers. You can't give them experimental medical treatments. So there's my rant there.
Well,
Spill the tea all over me says, I'm attracted to my bed. Is that just me, or are there more out there? Yes, that is not just you at all. You could probably find you a pretty good group chat on that there, Spill the tea. And that's what we need. We need more people in the chat. Are you addicted to the bed? Are you attracted to the bed physically, that you just want to lie and writhe in it and, stay in it and get back to it? Not uncommon. But jump in the chat. We like when you jump in there with us and spilling the tea all over me. It's nice when she is with us. It's good to have you back. Let's get on to the main topic, because we're about 36 minutes in, and I do want to get into this before, I don't want to keep it too long. Let's look at the Georgia Guidestones. A blast has discovered a large portion of the monument. This is Fox News here. It says the police are investigating an explosion Wednesday targeting the Georgia Guidestones monument, which the state says is known as America's Stonehenge. Hey, listen, ain't nobody fucking calling it America's Stonehenge except people who are in on the gag, basically. But anyway, that's what Georgia calls it, I think, because they want you to go see it for tourist reasons. But they're investigating, and the bomb squad was called to the scene. This is earlier today. But the thing's 19 feet tall, or it was, and it has a 10-part message espousing the conservation of mankind and future generations in 12 languages, according to a description on the state of Georgia's tourism website. And that's all Fox News will do with it, too. They ain't going to go no further than that. They're not going to tell you what those 10 things are. Now, I did find one from USA Today where they do tell you a little bit about what that is, but let's go into it real quick, okay? Let's look at these guys. We got number 1. Well, shit. If I could do it without making it, there we go. Maintain humanity under 500 million in perpetual balance with nature. Okay, there are, 8.5 billion people on the planet? And whoever put this up thinks that there should be 500 million. So what does that tell you that they want to do? If there's 8.5 billion people and you want there to be 500 million people, what are you advocating? Nothing good for the rest of those people. Maybe good for you. So that first one right off the bat makes you think, who in the hell put this up? Now, hey, we got Specs. What's up, man? Glad to have you with us. Talking about the Georgia Guidestones tonight. And we got Vacant Josh. He says, I love my bed, but it's not sexual. I don't know if Spill the Tea was talking sexual or not either, but I definitely think that there are people who kind of do that thing. Specs, I'm not going to read that because that will get my video pulled. So look in the chat, everybody, and see his. If I say that word, they will they will pull the video. At least that's what I've heard. I don't want to test it. So, but yeah, Specs, have you seen the movie Doctor Sleep? It is all about that. Where they're
Technically, I think would be about that
what
too.
would?
But technically, Monsters Inc.
Monsters
is probably
Inc.
about that too.
Yeah, where they're scaring these kids, and Monsters Inc. They're not killing them, but they're draining them of their essence. And in Doctor Sleep, that's what they're doing. They're torturing them and killing them to. Go ahead.
I don't remember if it was an episode of Who's Afraid of the Dark or Goosebumps or one of those kids show. There was a show. It was an episode about a restaurant that was like a high-end restaurant where it was like $1,000 for a bowl of soup or something. And it turned out the way they were making it, they were like taking local kids and scaring the hell out of them and draining.
Oh, I don't remember that
or something.
I don't know if I've seen that.
I'll have to look it up. It was one of those Who's Afraid of the Dark or Goosebumps.
Well, they had some pretty good ones, to be honest.
Yeah, they had a couple of good, some pretty decent.
I liked Are You Afraid of the Dark, and I've watched Goosebumps with my kids. I didn't really watch a lot of them when I was a kid myself, but I've watched them with my kids, and some of them are pretty good. A lot of them are retellings of, classic horror stories that most of the movies are made, or classic retellings of. But so back into the Georgia Guidestones. Everybody will tell you that we don't know who put this thing up. Let's look at number 2. First off the bat, we got maintain humanity under 500 million. And number 2, guide reproduction wisely, improving fitness and diversity. Well, you know what we used to call that? What did we used to call that, Tim? We called that eugenics, Tim. That's what they called it. And who was a big proponent of eugenics?
A bunch of people.
Hitler's the first one that usually comes to mind for most people, but yeah, that it was all the rage back in the early 20th century and the late 19th century. People thought that we just needed to make a better humanity, and that all these people who were so much smarter than everybody else and so more enlightened than everybody else, they should decide what humanity should be, and not some, clod hopping dirt farmer who works his ass off to provide the food that everybody, that all of them eat, and if they would all die without these people. But they decide that since we are more enlightened and we can basically pull the levers of power with money, politics, then we will basically use that to get over on humanity and decide which way they should go, who should be able to allowed to breed with who. If you've ever read the book, or I think there is a movie, Brave New World, one of the things that they do in that book is they genetically engineer the children in the society to be more advanced or more comfortable at a particular occupation. Spill the tea all over me. Says it's rubbed in our faces all the time. So over it. Yeah. But an example of that would be in the book of the Brave New World. Say the child, he is bred basically to be an aircraft mechanic or a rocket mechanic, I think it is in the book, and they're saying, well, he is bred in a test tube in a high temperature, so he's automatically accustomed to higher temperature and more comfortable there. He's bred in a zero gravity environment so that he is able to. She says they're zapping the live. I hope that doesn't mean they're zapping our stream. I have everything set up where it should cut back in. Oh man, it can't be on my end because my camera is actually running really smooth over here. Maybe we're having issues with YouTube.
You're good on my end. You weren't there for a second, but it could be very on the area.
Well, let's hope it at least comes back through for. Yeah, Jay Haw says I'm cutting, so hopefully that stays in. I don't really have anything I can do about it. I'm showing
you, buddy. I haven't heard anybody call that since the old vet guys. They used to call it cutting. Oh wait, he was talking about her feet. I thought he was saying he was getting something.
No, I haven't heard that either. Dang, that sucks. They said they're getting every other word, and
well, let it buffer for a minute. Show that spinning on that nest again, and then we'll.
Do you think I should kill the stream and start it over?
I don't really know.
I don't either.
Mine was like real pixelated there for a minute, and then it finally came back. But let me check.
I mean, everything's good on my end. You're coming through loud and clear. My camera is communicating with the computer over my Wi-Fi fine. I'm showing good upstream. I'm showing good downstream. So everything's green on my end. So it has to be something with YouTube or.
I'm listening on my end. I just turned my volume all the way up on my desktop, and we're fine on my end. So it's probably whatever part of the area that they're in.
That's weird.
Because it's not just the upload; it's also the download too. So it can actually be on their end too. Like I said, it was garbage on my end for a minute.
Maybe try cutting your your quality down, guys. I don't know. I am streaming it at 1080, so I don't know if that has anything to do with it or not, but everything's coming through clear on my end. Let me see if I can jump in the chat and tell them that. So maybe that they, with my chat doc, I can't even talk in the chat. Let's see. Coming through clear on my. Jump in the chat and tell them.
I know they're saying it's messed up, but I'm on YouTube on my desktop and I can hear it just fine. So I know it has to be an aerial sort of thing. So.
Can you guys hear me?
Well,
I'm trying to type them a message.
Well, completely indiscreet, like completely unable to understand us is getting our live count all the way up to 11. So maybe it's best if they can't hear us.
Yeah, I'm watching everything's coming through. I am watching myself now. And no glitching or delay or audio.
I don't know if they can.
I'm typing it.
Quality? Does it work that way?
Huh?
No, I'm not saying they should. I'm saying, is that a thing they can do?
What? You can click on your gear, your settings, and lower your audio or lower your quality of your stream. But I don't know why it's having trouble with it, but hopefully it'll still make a watchable episode. Your setting.
It should. Like I said, I think it's the live.
Well, I'm sorry guys if you can't hear us live. We're just going to have to kick on with it. Yeah, there you go. Leave and come back. Everyone leave and come back and bring your friends.
Oh, Spill the Tea says, there you go. You can read that.
Yeah, she said I left and came back and it's better. So, are they fucking with us? Is it just some random weird glitch that happened to affect all of our viewers at the same time, but not me or Tim?
Yeah.
Very weird.
You know what we should do? We should probably talk about Pfizer and probably talk about Roe v. Wade. That might... There's no way those two subjects will get us throttled.
You know, what it could be is everybody is out there making videos about the fucking Georgia Guidestones tonight, and YouTube can't handle all the traffic, and I kind of hope that's the case. So let's get back into the Georgia Guidestones. We'll read the rest of these real quick because I don't want to keep y'all all night, and we're at 10:47. So let me get back into the tenets of the Georgia Guidestones. Number 3, unite humanity with a new living language or living new language. 4, rule passion, faith, tradition, and all things with tempered reason. You hear what that says, though, in between the lines? Read between the lines. Rule, passion, faith, tradition, and all things. Rule all things with tempered reason. So they feel like they can rule all things. They say protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Now, a lot of people are saying that some patriot or maybe even God Almighty himself is actually the one that took this thing down. But I was like, well, I'm going to think with my Tim brain here. What if the Illuminati decided that they didn't want to uphold this, protect people with nations and fair laws and courts after what we've seen with the Dutch in the last little bit? We've seen the Dutch really stand up. The farmers have been basically put out of business, so they are standing up and they are spraying shit all over the government businesses and their buildings, and they're getting outside of the offices, and they're saying, "Hey, we can't live like this." Now, I want to read you I got a green text here that I'm going to read you here in a minute. But let's finish reading this first. Protect people and nations with fair laws and just courts. Number 6. Let all nations rule internally, resolving external disputes in a world court. Oh, it sounds like, oh, well, let all nations handle their business. But you're creating a world court, which by definition is saying we're not going to handle those things internally. Avoid petty laws and useless officials. That may be another one that they would want to get rid of if they were to destroy the thing. Number 8, balance personal rights with social duties. So you have no rights unless you contribute to society. I have rights because I decide I have fucking rights. And some people will say they have God-given rights. That's the way probably most people look at it. But every one of us, by nature of being a human being, has rights. And some of those are what are listed in the Constitution, but it's just because we've decided that. And, you know, they put in I think it's the Declaration, actually, now that I think about it, where it says, we hold these truths to be self-evident. You know, that says, I mean, it's kind of really the most anarchist thing that you could really say, because it's like, we fucking decided this, and we think it's obvious, and we all, you know, agree with it. Let's see, here we go. We got some chats here. I thought there's let's see. It's happened on a lot of lives I've been on with touchy subjects, says Spill the Tea. And Vacant Josh says, interesting. And he says, I thought Subjo was just maybe one hip abbreviation I'm not aware of. Yep, it's going down there. Not a typo. No, a typo. Oh, I'm just reading all the chat. But yeah, so Jayha says, I have the picture of the guy who came in county and paid for money for it. No BS. I think we just invented it. Who came in the county? Of the guy who paid for the Guidestones. That's interesting, because I was going to try to find that. Send me that to the ironmountainhour@gmail.com, Jayha. Send me that. I'll put it up on here and show it. I did a little bit of research into it myself. So let's finish reading it up here. We got prize truth, beauty, love, seeking harmony with the infinite. Be not a cancer on the earth. Leave room for nature. Leave room for nature. Hey, I got news for you. We're nature. We are nature. Human beings are nature. We are natural. So even though we may do some things that I definitely don't agree with, I don't believe in polluting the environment. I believe in taking care of it. But at the same time, if we do that, it's by definition nature, because we are natural. So I don't know where we get this idea that we're above everything and that we can decide all the, you know, how the earth is going to function, and we're going to just be good stewards of it and manage it. And it's like it's some fucking, you know, kindergarten classroom that you can manage and control every aspect of. That's not the way that the earth is supposed to be. Free will, I feel it inherently, is something that we're supposed to exercise and enjoy. So I think that we're looking at the antithesis of that in that thing there.
Can you throw those rules back up?
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't put them up the last time. I just said them. Yeah, let me do that.
I mean, you may have, but go ahead and throw them up one more time. I have a weird point that I'd kind of like to make.
Okay, I got them up.
Or I'll try. Okay.
Yep, they're up there.
All right. Zoom in. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm leaning in real close. If they can see me, I look like Alex.
Oh, it's backwards for you too, isn't
it? No, it'd be fine. I'm dyslexic. It doesn't matter anyway. Okay, like, except for the, the top of the screen where it says like 500 million people or whatever. Like, doesn't the rest of this seem like good stuff?
It all sounds good. It all sounds good, but look, guide reproduction wisely. Who are you to decide who I get to screw and have kids with and have a family with? You're nobody. Fuck you. And then unite humanity with a living new language.
But no, like, I'm trying to argue from a different direction, like, because if you read that from you don't get to be a part of it, though, right? And that the way you're reading it, like, you're not going to be one of the 500,000.
Well, I think we all have to read it that way, considering there's 8.5 billion.
That's what I'm saying. So if you take that first part off, though, sounds like an okay thing, though, right?
No.
You don't think? Don't destroy the earth and live harmoniously and give to society.
I think all those things are good ideals, but knowing how they have been espoused by people like Klaus Schwab, the Bilderberg Group, like. But
they're not connecting those
they're
things.
What?
Like, you don't like Klaus Schwab doesn't go there like once every April 1st and like make bowing to it. Like, I'm saying, if you disconnect,
I see what you're saying.
The people that we think. You see what I'm saying? If we disconnect everybody away from that, same thing as like if you disconnect.
I say, yeah, you're right. Those things do sound good, yes, but but the road to hell is paved with good intentions, as they say too.
Yeah, but that's not.
But in order to take you to hell, they have to exploit your good intentions.
Yeah, but I'm saying they're using reverse psychology against you, because monkey see, monkey do has been my big point. Is most people don't just go do stuff. But if you show a generation of people to do something, they'll mimic it on some level.
That's true.
So take off that top rule, and didn't we just show people that it would maybe be okay to blow up a utopian society? Because if I'm looking at it from a Ricochet perspective, I'm looking at it from, we probably do need to severely pump the brakes on some of the things we're doing on both sides. But if we really want to keep clear cutting the planet, the best way to do it would be to make everyone think that the people that are concerned about the environment, like actually concerned about the environment, are crazy people with pink hair that are obsessed with putting dildos up their asses. And we're going to dismiss these people now and show logical people that we should blow up. See, I'm not saying like if you connect them
I
automatically
see
to
where
the
you're
Georgia
going with it.
Guidestones.
Yeah, you're bringing it back around. Yeah.
It's almost like a ritualistic thing to you. The reason America will always be the flagship for world domination is because every other country has to like force their people to do bad stuff. All they got to do over here is get you to think you're doing the right thing, and you'll vote your way into hell. So it's almost like I feel like the Georgia Guidestones. It's like we're being gaslit with those too. Let's build this obscene thing that makes people go, "Oh, gasp!" But kind of load it with some other stuff that you might actually would be a good idea. I think it's a great idea not to trash the planet, and sounds like there's some golden rule stuff going on in
See,
there.
once again, Tim, you tricked me into arguing against you trying to make my point with your roundabout reasoning, which does make sense. It's very good logic. You're just taking it a longer way around than I was, but we're making the same point. Yeah, they use those things in there to get us to support things like people who just want to have a clean environment, which is most people, but who can't be bothered to read into what is actually going to happen when these policies are enacted, such as like a lot of the people in the Netherlands, they supported a lot of these climate things. They supported a lot of this green stuff that has been enacted until it actually got enacted on them. And this week we saw, we showed it on Sunday, the Dutch farmers, they were protesting, and actually since then the situation has escalated. I was going to get into that a little bit. We got Georgia Guidestones, so we don't really have time to get into it a lot tonight, but I can show you a video real quick of, well, we won't even show this one, but because you can't really see what happens and all you can hear it, but basically the German or the Dutch government started shooting at these unarmed protesters, and the protesters ended up bringing out a tank and block it to help block them things. So anyway, it's really escalated, and I've got this post I want to read to you by a Dutch anon on, I'm not sure if this is 4chan or 8chan. I grabbed the screen grab off of Twitter. But let me read this to you real quick, and think of it in the context. If you've been watching this show with us from the beginning, we started talking about the smart poles that are going into Johnson City, where the TVA is making a deal with the local power authority and the local government to put these poles in at no cost to them, and in exchange, the TVA gets all the data collected from these poles, and we don't really know what that'd be, but it could be video, audio, internet, IP, location data, facial recognition, gait patterns, lots of biometric stuff. So there's all kinds of information they could collect with this, and TVA being a corporation owned by the federal government, that should violate a lot of different provisions of the Fourth Amendment and others as well. But at any rate, we were trying to bring attention to this when we first started the show, so I want to look at this post with that in mind. So let's read it real quick. The EU and World Economic Forum promote Sustainable Development Goals, aka Agenda 2030, which we talked about on the last episode. Look that up if you don't know about it. And Agenda 21, which was the precursor. Part of the SDGs is the reduction of agricultural impact on climate change by means of nitrogen dioxide restrictions. That's nitrogen gas. Dutch government signs contracts promising to execute this agenda and proceeds implementing new laws restricting NO2 emissions from farms. Dutch governments, however, barely produce any such gases. Even the Dutch government statistics indicate that 90% of the measured NO2 comes from Germany. NO2 is a frail and unstable molecule that doesn't actually impact the local environment. Independent digital soldiers discover the Tri-State City project in their efforts to find out why the Dutch government does this. Tri-State City is scheduled to be the complete bulldozing and rebuilding of the entire Benelux as one giant smart city, akin to the 90s movie Judge Dredd. Tri-State City is supposed to be the capital of the globo-homogenized one world government. This OWG needs all that Dutch farmland to build ghettos. The NO2 land is just a tool being used. The NO2 law is just a tool being used to completely decimate the Netherlands, Dutch culture, and the Dutch way of life. Farmers share this information and quietly decline this law. Dutch government publicly threatens land appropriation by force if the farmers don't comply. Farmers organize tractor rallies and block highways. Farmers surround the home of the Minister of Agriculture. Farmers collaborate with other branches of the economy to organize a general strike and shutdown for Monday, the July 4th. Since then, the Dutch government debates on the potential strike and say on public record that military violence may be used on the farmers if they attempt to shut down Schiphol. In doing so, the Dutch government quietly declared itself the enemy of the people and became strictly illegal under Admiralty law, for it violated its corporate contract with the citizens of its nation. I don't know about that at the end, but there is something to all the Admiralty law. But all the rest of that stuff is stuff that really happened. And I just hope that we see that much resistance to it when it comes in other places, because she says they'll trip it. Spill the tea all over me says that was a plan. I don't think it's going to work about the Guidestones. True. She says they'll slip it in where they can. You're right about that. Definitely right about that. So I wanted to read that post to you real quick, because if it's true that the tri-state city is supposed to be the capital of the new one world government, then we really should be watching this Dutch situation and supporting those guys any way we can. Let's figure out how we might be able to do that, but at least let's figure out what's going on. If you guys have anything on it, send it to me at the ironmountainhour@gmail.com. Put it in the chat, comment on the video, whatever it is. Let's figure this thing out. See if there's anything we can do just within our small sphere of influence to raise awareness on this situation. Now let's get back into the Georgia Guidestones, because we want to see the meat and potatoes. Here's what they looked like. They were built in 1980, and they're 19 feet tall, and they have those 10 tenets on it that we told you, and they have it in multiple languages. They have it in English, and they have it in Sanskrit, Babylonian, cuneiform text, I think maybe Greek, maybe it's just 4 languages. But at any event, let's look at the footage here from the security cameras. I think it's really funny that they have the footage of the explosion. They have the footage of a car entering the Guidestones or leaving the Guidestones area after the explosion, but they don't have any video of the person going up to it. And there are the Georgia Guidestones, half of them being blown to bits. It's a pretty strong explosion. Those things are no joke. They're huge, and they're what's that?
Said half destroyed.
Well, they're completely destroyed now, because they've damaged all the rest of them, and the government destroyed the rest of them. Here's an old picture of them. Somebody had spray painted "fuck the NWO" on them, and
yeah, they didn't have a camera up until people started putting graffiti on them. Like, they were just out there, and then I guess once the internet started getting a hold of them and people started realizing, hey, there's just kind of a FU sort of stones out here. People started hitting them with paint and all sorts of stuff.
Here's some aerial footage from the Guidestones after they. I mean, I'm telling you, that was no joke. Whoever blew that thing up had access to some serious ordnance.
Yeah, that's some.
That's no joke.
I wonder if they'll trace it down to someone who owns a fireworks stand, because they need a lot of powder to do it.
Well, I would imagine they would. Yeah, it would be a heck of a lot of powder. I looked this thing up because I thought it was interesting. In a lot of the news stories, you see, well, nobody knows who built this. Almost everyone, all the mainstream articles that you see on it, they say nobody knows who built it. And I thought, well, there's got to be some kind of public record who owns the land. So why do we not know that? So I started digging around and poking, prying, and I came to the Alberta County, the land office and owner and parcel information. And it's actually the Elbert County Board of Commissioners, and I found out it was donated in, I think, 1979. The things were built in 2000 or in 1980. The Guidestones were built, but there's no record in the electronics record of where this thing was or who donated this. So you would actually have to go down to the courthouse there in Alberta County, Georgia, and get the records there and find out who donated it to the Board of Commissions. And they never mentioned that in any of the news reports or news stories that I've seen or read. Have you seen anything on that where they delve into who may own the land or who may have done the thing? They always just say, "Oh, we don't know." Well, isn't that your fucking job? I'm sorry, I'm cussing a lot tonight. I don't mean to, guys. But
there is a guy. There is a name that they use, but I'm pretty sure they said it was an alias.
I've heard it rumored that Ted Turner, in a group that he was in, had connections to them, but I don't have any way of knowing any validity of that because I can't even remember where I heard it. Sean says, "This was so amazing. I approve." Hey, glad to have your approval, sir. Spill the Tea says fishy with a PH or PF, like Pfizer, fishy. So let's look here. I'm got a couple more here because they actually ended up bulldozing the rest of the thing, and we got a little bit of footage of that too. But before that, I've got one interesting video I want to show you. This is from Candace Taylor. She is running for governor in Georgia. Here, I'm going to turn on the audio for it. So Tim, if you can restrain yourself for just a minute and refrain from speech while we're playing the video so we don't get a super bad echo on you, and then I will get you back in there. But we're going to play Candace Taylor. I call this video Candace Foot Fitting the Illuminati's Ass.
Something that took just 9 months to... They told us what they wanted to do.
Let me know if you can hear this, Tim.
Some might even say they had to get our permission to at least tell us ahead of time, even if we didn't believe them. Over 4 billion people have been injected with something that took just 9 months to create.
And this is Candace Taylor's campaign video from May.
Back in biblical times, human sacrifice was a form of demonic worship. We're still doing it in present day by killing our unborn. It's the same demons, it's the same sacrifice, it's the same sin. It's just a different time.
This is a long shot in and of itself, running for governor against an incumbent. Why are you doing this?
If we don't call things out and we don't acknowledge them and we don't take authority and take dominion over what God's given us, then we are no better than the evil ones that put it up. We've watched as people have destroyed our history and monuments, and in their place they have erected statues to their own gods. The New World Order is here, and they told us it was coming. It's a battle far greater than what we see in the natural. It is a war between good and evil.
So you can see just how big those things are. It wasn't fireworks, you know. And her executive order number 10 is destroying, as governor, she would destroy the Georgia Guidestones. So she put that video out, and she says here when she posted on Twitter, she says, "I'm the only candidate bold enough to stand up to the Luciferian cabal. Elect me governor of Georgia, and I will bring the satanic regime to its knees and demolish the Georgia Guidestones. Join me in my fight to hashtag tear them down." And then she gives you where you can contribute to her. So that was right at 2 months ago in May that Candace Taylor put that video up. So I thought that was pretty interesting. She said, Spill the Tea said, "Wow, next thing it'll be mainstream. I can only hope." Hey, it was, I think Twitter must have removed it from their trending section today because it was there for a little while and it just kept getting bigger and bigger in my feed. But I follow a lot of conspiracy people and stuff on there, so it would only make sense that I would see it. So, but it suddenly disappeared from the trending session or section of Twitter, so that regular people who weren't following those people won't see it. So I don't know. We'll see, hopefully. But, I mean, I follow a lot of people like that, so I got a lot of stuff on it. The algorithm was not blocking it for me. I don't know if it's feeding it to the normies, as, you know, some people call them. But we definitely were getting it on my end. Now I'm going to show you real quick a video of the Guidestones being completely destroyed after they were damaged by the bomb.
Wonder if she's going to be investigated.
Oh, I don't know. Probably. Oh, I gotta kill the desktop audio, so there we go. And Spill the Tea says nice. I hope she does. Well, I definitely would be good to have somebody with the mindset of protecting the states and their citizens from the New World Order. That would definitely be something that I could approve of. So, wish her success in that regard. But but Executive 10, Order 10, look, promises made, promises kept, and she's not even inaugurated. She's not even in office yet. So, Candace Foot fit in your ass, Illuminati. What? Sorry.
I think I'm still muted.
Oh, I don't think you're muted at all. Go ahead.
Oh,
no,
wait,
I just wanted you to be quiet so you didn't echo.
I was referencing my computer here. My computer. I was okay. Never mind. Long story. If you take this, I guess because some people are going to be like conspiracy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And let's just take it as far non-conspiracy as possible. Let's say the Guidestones are just somebody's personal property and they're nuts, and let's take it as far as possible. Say all that stuff's just fake and hyperbole, and maybe this candidate is taking things too far, and she is wanting you to vote for conspiracy, right? And because I know that argument's going to come up, and I actually think that might actually be the case when we start voting people in who say things they don't necessarily.
You don't think she believes that?
Because that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying like it
could lead to that being.
Because that's what politicians are doing now. Most of them in the green movement, they don't believe in equal rights. They don't believe in the LGBT right. They don't believe in any of that stuff. They just want to stay
and you could make even that argument. I mean, with Trump to a degree, because he was coming on Alex Jones's show before the election in 2016, and and then he really didn't address a lot of the issues that a lot of Alex Jones's viewers hoped that he would.
I guess my point would be like, people are going to say, what are we going to do when we start putting crazy people like this in office, right? And I'm just trying to jump ahead of it and play devil's advocate and say, would she be worse than Lori Lightfoot? Because look at these crazy people that are already in office right now, where she's sending the COVID cowboy or whatever down the road as a part of crime response.
That one was a ghoul.
All right, so let's say all this conspiracy stuff with the Georgia Guidestones, for the sake of argument, let's say it is all fake and stuff like it. Would somebody who's so concerned about citizens that they want to tear down a monument, is that person really not already in office because they're condoning people tearing down monuments? It's not like I'm just saying I'm looking at the left is probably looking at that person like she is just the worst demon that could possibly get in office, not realizing that they've already got something similar in office.
Yeah, no.
It's just, I'm saying, the craziness that look in the mirror and see what they've already got a version of the demon that they fear.
I see why you're saying that, and I had a similar thought, which is why I pulled up this tweet from the Pete Quinones show. Pete's I don't know if he's an ANCAP or a libertarian, but he says, read the Georgia Guidestones. Why the fuck is everybody so intent on destroying the evidence of their oppression? In the future, people are going to ask, why did this happen? And you're going to have nothing to show them. Don't burn any books and don't turn down any monuments. And I don't think we should burn down any books, but you also don't leave a statue or a monument to the people who are oppressing you. You tear that shit down and you put up stuff that is with your value. It's just like the Soviet Union. That you're going to tear down the Stalin, you're going to tear down the Hitler statues. You're going to, and that's what the left is doing. That's why they're tearing down the George Washingtons and Ben Franklins, because they want to put up their statues that they're going to oppress you with. Yeah, sorry, Tim. Go ahead.
Yes and no, but like if we want to tear down Hitlers and Stalins and stuff, yes. But right now they've got people brainwashed into tearing down stuff that they don't fully understand why they're tearing down.
Oh yeah, no, I agree with you, but that's what I'm saying. That is what they're doing. Like when you tear down Hitler and tear down Stalin, it is because you recognize that those people are oppressing you, or whoever the new government is says, I'm in charge now, and these people aren't in charge anymore. So let's get the statues out of here, tear them down. We're putting up statues of me now. Either way, it signifies that whoever was in charge and whoever was calling the shots is no longer calling them. So that's why people tear down monuments. That's why people tore down these monuments. That's why they tear down, Ben Franklin and George Washington, because they say in these areas, these blue areas like Richmond, Virginia, and stuff like that, they say we're here, we're calling the shots now, and we're putting up our statues, and they put up stuff like George Floyd, and which gets struck by lightning and destroyed almost immediately. So, Spill the tea all over me says, how the Bible says one will turn on another. Those days are here as I try so hard to be neutral, but it's real hard indeed. Now listen, I've said it on the show before, like, I'm not even a Christian, but I grew up in a Christian church, and I used to hear the thing about, Christians will be persecuted one day. And, I wouldn't necessarily say that you have that, because it is still the largest religion in America, if I'm not mistaken. But at the same time, the attitude as far as the way the government views Christianity and as opposed to other religions has changed a lot, and you could make an argument that there is a lot of that going on, or at least more than I would expect. When I was a child, I thought, well, everybody's Christian, nobody's going to persecute any Christians, that's never going to happen. But you do see some indications of that happening, not necessarily that to where you're beheading Christians in the street, which is what a lot of people are weary of due to the Book of Revelation and stuff. But at any rate, I lost my train of thought there. Sorry, guys. but get back to the Georgia Guidestones, and you were talking about, do these people actually believe it? And I think this lady does. I think Candace does. I think there's a lot of people who have had the urge to have those things torn down, and I'm just surprised somebody actually did it. So I wonder who it is. I mean, it could be anybody, but Pete Quinones, the reason. Oh yeah, that's where I was at. Lost my total train of thought there. Pete Quinones says, "Why are you so in a hurry to tear them down?" For the same reason everybody tears statues down, because you're saying you have no power over me, and that's what people are saying here. Even in the same way that you were talking about the leftists tearing down like a statue of George Washington, they're saying you don't have no power over me. Even if they don't understand that, they don't understand why that statue of George Washington's there. They're saying we're in fucking charge now, and in those areas they are. Now let's see.
I don't personally think that that's what they're saying. I think with all the getting the lefties to tear statues and stuff down was more to poke the angry bear. That's
no,
on the right,
yeah, but that's why the lefties are doing it. That's why you've got people who now a lot of people will look at.
I just don't think they do. They're doing it because they're full of anger and aggression, and they need something to let it out.
Well, I mean, I think that's a degree of it, but they're saying these people that are on the streets coming out and doing this. A lot of people think that on the right they point to Antifa and they say, "Oh, look at these Antifas are this huge threat, and they're organized and they're all this," and they don't really look at it from the same perspective of, okay, if you're in the middle or on the left and you look at, or let's say even people on the right notice this. There's groups like that Patriot Front. The people on the right say, well, that's an obvious Fed group. They're trying to set up the people on the right and lead them into, action that's going to demonize our side and put us in a bad light. But they don't think that there's going to be feds running Antifa. We saw lots of operatives running Antifa in the 2020. So if you can look past, okay, don't demonize the whole right side because the Patriot Front or whatever these other whatever these other groups that are feds or provocateur groups, you don't judge the whole group based on that. But at the same time, the people on the right, they tend to judge all the people on the left by people like Antifa and not realize that a lot of those groups are Fed run too, or at least provocateured by some group or another, if it's not the Feds. But we got to look at it. It is coming from both sides. But ultimately, I do think that's the point of taking down a statue, is saying, things are changing here. That it's a symbolic thing. You go back throughout history, anytime a ruler conquers another nation, back a time immemorial, as long as there's been human beings, you come in and you trash those statues and you put up statues of you, whether you're the pharaoh or whatever it is. If you're an invading power, you take over and you trash that stuff. You don't want to leave any signs of them.
I'm still arguing that it's not the same thing though, because they didn't take over. They tore down like 4 statues and then got arrested.
But that's why they do it though. They didn't take over, but that's why these people on the ground think they're taking these statues down, because they think they're taking over.
I know I'm being difficult with this one, but I think you're putting way too much logic and reason into people when you ask them why they think that abortion should be legal. Their response is my choice, my choice. So I really don't think these people are pulling the statues down going, all right, guys, we have to make sure that the patriarchy understand that this controlled opposition is no.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying your average person out there.
Washington, I need some stamps. I mean, I'm pretty sure these people aren't it.
I'm sure they're not on the average level, but you do have intellectual and thought leaders of these groups too. I mean, you do have. It's not that everybody is thinking that. But you have people who have to get that message out there, and then you also have people who think, yeah, my body, my choice, and their thought is we're in charge now, and they're on the ground, they're running the streets, the cops are not stopping them, so.
I don't think so. Did you say so?
No, man, it's definitely the way it is. These people think they think they run shit because they're tearing down statues and nobody's stopping them, and they think their side is winning, and that's as far as they think it. No, they don't put enough thought in it to know that that's not the case like you do, Tim.
They don't. They think they've lost. Like, see, I think you've missed a big.
No, I'm talking about the last election cycle during the 2020 riots and the whole George Floyd deal. They had not lost at that point.
What I'm saying right now, they think, like, the vast majority of the left think that they've lost.
Oh yeah, right now, like, they do. Yeah, I'm talking about 2020.
Biden in office, and they have all these a lot of blue states and stuff. They really feel like they've lost.
No, because they lost Roe versus Wade and they lost the gun thing, so they think that they have lost. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I really think a lot of it is it's almost like a planned demoralization of the left. Like, not only it takes me back to like I know I reference movies and pop culture a lot, but I feel like it's almost like a universal language. Gangs of New York and Leonardo DiCaprio's character says, if you're going to kill a king, you don't do it in private, you do it where the whole court can watch him die. And it's like, what better way to really humiliate an entire side of the political field than give them the most like just ridiculously over the top bad president. Don't even give him force him, because that's not even what they wanted. They put him in office, and now for 4 years they get to watch the left all be represented by a babbling fool, and that has to be psychological warfare.
Forget about
to sit there and watch your side presented by that every single day.
Forget about the president. Forget about the president. Look at 2020, and you had these places in Virginia. These were conservative areas, and you had a blue state government, and next thing you know, these people are teaching the transgender ideology to kids, and they're teaching they're not teaching critical race theory like people say. They are applying critical race theory to their lessons for these children to pick it up along the way. They're not teaching you a college level course on theory from critical theory. They are applying it in their teachings. And so when they are doing this, and they're blatantly doing it openly, they're showing you on TikTok videos that they're doing this stuff. They're teaching all these things that the right wing doesn't want taught to their children. Then they're tearing down statues in your state. Yes, they're fucking telling you, we rule you, we run you, bitch.
I think it's the CIA. Well, I don't.
Well, buddy, that's what I'm saying. Though, it's the people on the ground though that are able to be manipulated that engage in this.
It's the people on the ground that are being allowed to do it. They were never arrested.
Exactly.
They were given.
That's what I'm saying. That's why they feel they're okay. That's why they feel they've won.
But what I'm saying is, it's not real. It's not real, though, is what I'm saying. Like, it's almost like I feel like the entire left-hand side has been propped up to be this giant villain. They've been turned into a giant straw man just so we can mow them down, and it's going to be a bloodbath because they're not going to be prepared for what's going to happen.
But they do.
When the army of normies like just appear on the horizon and just start ripping their heads off is what I'm afraid is going to happen, because a lot of people are going to get caught in the wake of that really might not need to be caught in the wake of that, like it's like anime, like is I think the word they use for it in sociology. It's like they use it to describe Hurricane Katrina, like to defend the people that were kicking the windows in to get the food out. They were like, well, there's already water in there. You're really going to try to charge them for getting a can of peas at the convenience store.
It's a total loss already.
Completely changed. It's like Nazi Germany. The rules change on some level, and I guess on a level I'm not worried. I guess I'm more concerned about we're watching Balance Correct,
Mm-hmm.
right? We've watched the left be pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed, and now to the point where it's no longer that we're pushing right. The culture is just going right. It's just going to go right, and I'm worried about what's going to happen when it goes so far right. Because
It's gone left for consistently for decades now, and at some point that pendulum, like you said, Tim, does have to swing back the other way. And we've talked on the show about, I don't even know if we've actually mentioned it on the show, The Great Ricochet, other than just by name and but not really explaining the concept. Do you want to give people a quick explanation of what we're talking about when we say that?
yeah, it's real quick, 2 sentences. You can look up all the evidence for this. I mean, there's probably other people who have more evidence that are more well spoken than us, but the idea of it is that for a long time, the powers that be have been pushing the culture left intentionally very hard and against the will of the people. That way, when there's finally a reaction, it's going to be so swift and so forceful that it's going to cause essentially the entirety of the United States to flip into like a Germany sect. But if it's like, can you imagine like I don't want to be a Nazi Germany sympathizer, but if you literally have all these people destroying your country, eventually at some point you're going to snap. And I'm wondering if Nazi Germany wasn't like some kind of like a soft run for what we're going through now. Like, what exactly do you have to do to a country to make them willingly turn into fascist murderers? And it's when you turn the opposition, when the normal person is no longer the normal person includes everything, and then the opposite of normal is a complete freak show that it couldn't even survive on its own. It really starts making a different emotion start bubble up inside people. It's not it's not anger, it's like disgust. Like they're so upset that this. Does that
Yeah,
make sense?
no,
Like when you
no,
look
I
at
know
the
exactly what you're saying.
opposite,
Uh,
it's like a character of what the opposite of what a human is supposed to
No, I
be.
know, I get exactly what you're saying, and I'm right there with you as far as the possibility of the Great Ricochet. That was one of the first things we talked about in this show, is that, or there were no, we didn't even talk about it on the show. We talked about it just you and I talking when we talked about doing the show. Is that we had the concern of this Great Ricochet that you just described, and that once you convince the society, if you convince half the population, especially the armed and you know the armed half, we'll just say that the armed and trained half, really, that the other side is.
Have you thought
What's
about
that?
that? Like it just, I guess, I'll preface with this. It seems like, because like I said, I'm bird of no feather, right? I'm just sitting here watching the whole thing go down, but I'm watching the left has turned itself into like a spaghetti strainer, right? They've just put so many holes in their own party that shouldn't be there. Like we watched it happen with like the turfs and all these other names that we can make up for people that have essentially been ejected from the Democrat or left or progressive, whatever you want to call it, that the party just keeps getting smaller and smaller. And so at that point, I'm wondering the only people that really matter is like how long before the Bernie Bros flip? Because the Bernie Bros are basically like, it's like if their ideology was shifted just a
They could
little
be
bit,
Trump bros either.
they right in with the other people, no problem, because they're already pro gun. Like I stand with a lot of the stuff they got. I just think they're very naive in the way they want to go about executing a lot of the
Same.
stuff. But how long before you think even the Bernie people are pushed out of the left?
Well, yeah, I agree. As you'd think with the way that Bernie, you know, bowed over to the machine and they kicked him out of the side, you'd think that people would start to at least realize that it's not what they say. And you mentioned that spill the tea all over me. Says I'm in an episode of Twilight Zone. No wait, Stranger Things. Better yet. Yeah. So and that sounds a lot like what you were describing there, Tim. But the ultimately, I think we're really thinking the same thing. I think we're looking at it from a different perspective. Whereas you are looking at it from the overall big picture, I'm looking at it from the mindset of the person on the street who is actually being convinced to engage in the behavior. So I think we're saying the same things. We're just looking at it from different perspectives, because you're looking at who is orchestrating it, and I'm looking at who's actually carrying it out. And I don't think that our views on the subject are mutually exclusive. I think we maybe misunderstood one another a little bit, but either way, I think we had a productive discussion on it there. And we're about an hour and a half now, so I think we're at about time to wrap it up. But I had one more video I wanted to show you. I think I did anyway. If I can. Yes, here it is. Now, who knows what really happened to the Georgia Guidestone? Well, we saw a video, but this one's for you, Sean. If you're still out there, if you're still with us, I hope you are. What really happened to the Georgia Guidestones? I'm going to turn on the desktop audio for this one. Let's see what really happened to the Georgia Guidestones. Just for you, Sean.
This decision is dangerous.
So there you have it. Stacey Abrams strikes again. Where will she turn up next? To find out, tune in this Sunday at 10 p.m. to the Iron Mountain Hour. Spill the Tea says, good chat, fellas. Hey, good chat from you too, Spill the Tea. Thank you for joining us. It's so nice when you're here. Sunday at 10 p.m. for the next episode of the Iron Mountain Hour. We're going to talk about CERN again because it fired back up. And we're also going to, what was the other thing? CERN is the main thing on my mind right now. So we do want to get into that. Not as in me chatting, but you're chatting. Yeah. I knew what you meant. But it's nice to have you in the chat. It really is. Nice to have everybody there. And we appreciate you joining us. Again, if you're still with us, give that video a like so we get a little bit of credit for it. It shows it to other people. Vacant Josh, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Give us a like there. And if you know somebody else who might like to jump in on the conversation, send it over. Tell them to subscribe and hit the bell so you'll know when we're up every Sunday and Wednesday at 10 p.m. Join us and email us at theironmountainhour@gmail.com. You're welcome, Sean. Tim, you got anything else to say before we get out of here?
No.
No,
I will possibly.
Well, no,
I'll save
well,
that.
no, I'll save
surprise
that
for just
surprise
Sunday.
for just Sunday.
We'll go out on
Stacey Abrams
farting the
Georgia Guidestones away.
I think that's a better way to go out.
That's a nice clean ending. Yep. All right, folks. We'll see you Sunday. Join us. Oh, the Federal Reserve. That's the other thing we're going to talk about. See you then.
Are we going to do the Jekyll Island aspect of it?
Yeah. We got to tell the story. Maybe I'm sure you're familiar with that. You can help me out with that, and we'll get into that Sunday. So we'll see you then. Bye, guys.